Welcome back. This is GameBreakers. I am Thomas. I'm here with Allison, Diamond, and David, and we are continuing A Bard's Tale. Last we left our intrepid heroes, a bargain had just been struck. You stand before Flumianwyr, the colossal bronze dragon, the protector of the Delta Confederacy, the guardian of the river, the left wing of Io. And you have just agreed to some unknown price for the knowledge that you're about to receive. It leans its head forward, and then it's like all of its bulk pours into its mouth, and then to its head, and then reforms into the figure you spoke with once before. Looks like a bronze dragonborn, fairly lithe, dressed in impeccable silks, several hooks and bangles and clasps and things. Dragons do not breed. This may not seem like the answer to your question, but trust me, I'll get there. At the end of the Fourth Dragon War, or the beginning of your history, there arose another type of dragon that enforced a truce. The nature of the truce was such that every dragon is bonded to another. When one falls, the other sleeps. This is how peace is kept between us. We do not fight, or it will lead to the weakening of our allies, and thus our own vulnerability. Dunharrow holds my soul bond. When Borodor slew Dunharrow, I slept. And it was during this time that he returned to the city and swore his oath. It was his own pride and valor in exquisite combination that brought very specifically his own downfall. This is a secret he knows. You've already interrupted his attempt to corrupt Dunharrow and use it against me forever. Should Escrion have succeeded in his experiments, I would never wake. I suspect that had the altar been completed, that you interrupted by maintaining possession of the Stone Saint's relic, that a similar idea was in mind. But if Borodor cannot corrupt Dunharrow, he will certainly kill it. And that would still leave the river defenseless.
Is he more vulnerable? Is that dragon more vulnerable than you?
Is much younger. There's some amount of time that passes before an egg will hatch. There are processes in place which I'm not yet comfortable telling you the details of. But there is a method by which an egg hatches. When those events come about, a dragon becomes a wormling and eventually grows into its old memories. I maintain memories from before the time of dragons. before the Dragon Wars, into a time that is unspoken of. I am one of 5 dragons who maintains this lineage. Were I to be permanently destroyed, portion of the heritage of this world will die with me. We must avoid that. Clearly. Defend the Dune Harrow. That is why you came here, right?
Yeah. It seems more important than ever.
Close your eyes. And in your head appears a map, as if flying at about dragon cruising level. And you see a massive mountain thrusting out of a desert that is hooded on one side, for lack of a better word. You see storms running up against it constantly, just in a very specific place that has made one whole side of it concave. And looks a little bit like the hood of a cobra. You see inside, at the base of the cobra's hood, a city carved into the side of the mountain. Right, seemingly, in the blast zone of what must be a 2 or 3 times a week massive sandstorm. You see this in time lapse. You zoom out, and a path is traced from here to there that you will be able to follow. It's a landmark in the desert. That is the Dune Harrow's home. It surrounds itself with Yuan Ti. Are you familiar with them?
No.
You can everybody roll me history, maybe? I'd take a nature check.
I'll be happy to do a history.
And you can just roll it. I know how you roll. I know how you are.
I'll try nature.
Okay.
Oh, hey! I got a natural 20.
Nice.
But by the time CliqClaq is done thinking about the fact that he doesn't know it, Struana has come up with the answer. Snake people, in the shortest version, with the natural 20 and bonuses, you know that they often build empires above and below ground. They have a caste-like hierarchical structure based on how much of a snake you are, basically. And they, through some weird magics, can interbreed and get human blood into the line, or humanoid blood into the line, and sort of weed out the snakiness, so that those are the ones that are sent out as like spies and traders and diplomats. But the real super snake ones are like the high priests at the heart of the city.
That actually, that's a little like Khajiit, even though I know it's cats instead, but they were really similar kind of thing.
Nerd!
Yes.
Transtextuality. Lee has it.
Hmm.
So
So these are snake people who build giant empires, and they have this pretty structured case system and a range of appearances ranging from very snake to very not snake.
Correct.
I think there are two of them.
They attend the Dune Harrow as my city attends to me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Any assault would by nature have to go through whatever number of them the Dune Harrow has been able to regather in this lifetime.
All right.
Okay. That's good to know. Yes.
Do you speak the language of dragons?
I do.
Flumianwyr speaks a phrase in Draconic that you know to basically mean "I know where you sleep." There's some weird connotations about it. When you encounter Dune Harrow, speak this phrase, and it will know what you know.
Okay. Okay.
It should take you seriously then. If you mention me, you will know. Or it will know. The Dune Harrow and I are not friends. We are not allies. But by the terms of the truce, we have something in common. Our shared existence.
What kind of dragon is Dune Harrow?
Dune Harrow is blue. Since you are bound by the price, I shall also impart to you the nature of the island that you discovered, Struana. The crystal dragons keep the eggs. It is their part to play in the Pax Draconis. You discovered a slumbering ancient, the keeper of my eggs, the herald of my rebirth. I'll let that sink in. Should you fail and survive, it is there that you will discover how I may be returned.
I'm going to ask him in Draconic if it's his eggs behind the door or something else.
The door. What
Okay,
door?
so I guess not. You must be Whirlpool or Tower or something. There's
Well, go on.
every time I close my eyes, I see a door that was on that island.
Describe this door for me.
In the ground, it was. I've seen it both in the ground and at the bottom of the whirlpool, and there's a truth in it, and it knows my name in a language I don't know.
close your eyes. And as every other time, it's closed your eyes, or you've closed your eyes. The door is right there. The dragon begins to cast a spell. Could you make me a wisdom save? Or you could relent if you trust the dragon. Oh, that's not anything. Sorry, I didn't have to roll anything.
What?
Could you roll me a wisdom save, or you could relent. You could intentionally fail your save.
I think I'm going to intentionally fail my save, mostly because it's really frustrating to see the same thing every time. I'm feeling a little crazy here, man. And I'm already, like, going to be in debt to a dragon, so I might as well get something personal out of it.
Right? Makes sense.
Better story.
Once the spell goes off, it kind of takes just a few seconds and nods. All right, you may open them. Emblazoned in your mind is somehow the image of a door into the Feywild. That it was discovered on the island is interesting, perhaps not troubling. Creatures such as the Fey and energies such as those that pervade the Feywild are drawn naturally to places of power. Thins out the veil, separates worlds. As such, whether it's permanent or not, you've been called across the veil. Tell me, Struana, what have you been dabbling in?
Mostly a little bit of everything.
It will be tempting to follow the path that you're on, but make no mistake, that creature wants your soul and every idea that you will ever have. Be wary.
Go ahead.
It seems to me that the best way to be part of the story is to balance risk and reward.
It's your destiny. I wouldn't presume.
What? I wouldn't
presume.
I believe that was almost that was in draconic, because I never said we switched back, which is, sorry, Stan.
Oh, actually, no, it only gave you the phrase, that single draconic phrase.
Okay. I'd established that I'd asked about it in draconic.
Oh. Got it. It only answered in common. Sorry.
That's fine. Fine. Whatever. Drag's gonna do whatever they're gonna do anyway.
True. Have you ever heard of an obsidian dragon that breathes lava?
All obsidian dragons breathe lava.
Where have you been?
Well, we forget to extend my pinky here. What?
They are, however, quite rare.
Hmm.
It is one of the varieties of crystalline dragon. A bridge between the metallic and the chromatic.
What if I could tell you that I know someone who's seen one?
It's a very rare individual.
Hmm.
Yes.
Well, now I know a bunch of stuff about dragons I didn't know before.
And it
You have
only
a
comes
calendar
from
of
your
women
soul.
talking.
The price, now that I have imparted the knowledge. First, is secrecy. Simple. I assumed you knew. The second, and heavier price of which I warned you, is bearing this knowledge. You can never unknow this.
Don't get to unring that bell.
When it comes time, and as you age, as we all do, you will begin to recognize that all of this, everything you've ever known, was premised on that event. Your life will never be the same. But you did ask.
Well, that's not so bad.
Eh,
Minor crisis of faith is actually like not the worst thing I was expecting out of this. So, okay.
yeah. I was expecting, like, I own your soul and you're also sterile.
Congratulations, you're a dragon now. Bye. And then the dragon recedes back, like basically pours itself out like molten bronze back into its natural shape. Levels its eyes once again with the viewing chamber.
It's the coolest thing.
Have you any more questions, CliqClaq? Or shall I send you back to your work?
My question was going to be, can I get back to work now?
Get your tools ready.
He kind of gives him an "Are you stupid?" look, because I always have my tools ready.
No. Position. Remember, exactly as you came.
No problem.
Make sure that Lovelace does the same.
Mm-hmm.
And space once again kind of, and you, as though a bubble were wrapping itself around you in two different directions. You come back in exactly the place you were. Things hitch for about 3 seconds while everything's on pause, and then reality resumes its course.
And I continue attaching a belt, a fan belt.
Struana, Stan, have you anything else?
I don't believe so.
Well, then if you're not in too great a hurry, once you asked to see my art collection. Come, I have time.
Like, I don't even care if we don't have any time to get to the desert. I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
Stan, what do you do? You stick around for the art show? You don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds great.
Right, back away slowly. Yep, I'll take an eco back if I can, and prepare for a meeting with the voice.
Okay, you're gonna go take a nap before midnight. Little booze nap.
Yeah.
All right. Midnight comes about. Who's headed to the voice? Everybody has something that they're doing for the rest of the day. Struana, it's mind blowing. It's just layer on layer, rack upon rack things. Nearly indescribable.
Artworks that I've only heard of.
Never heard of.
Nothing in there that there's the like, you know.
Oh, there's a lot of names you've heard of, but the most of them are original works given directly to the dragon. Unaired, unshown masterpieces.
That's fantastic.
Who's headed to shots at midnight? That's the bar to meet the voice.
The what?
The bar to meet the voice.
Oh, I thought you made a funny sound, and I thought you were describing it. Yes, I am heading to shots at midnight, which I think is a great name for a bar, considering what goes on there.
And I'm also-
CliqClaq? Okay. CliqClaq, getting a good night's sleep? Okay.
I have to start early in the morning to keep building.
Right?
You saw how complex this thing is.
Yep. And I only skimmed it. Freaking gnomes. So there's no. What time do you get there? There are no taxis in. There's no transport into the voice. Actually, like very thin hours where transit goes in and out. It's been recently restricted.
Well, we're coming from the Citadel, right? Like, the next... Oh, gosh. One moment. Like, we can fly to close to it, right? From the Citadel? And then walk in?
Yeah, last flight in is 7 o'clock.
Okay, cool.
All right, so you head to the voice. You wait until midnight at shots. Sure enough, right about dark time, like dreadful noises start coming both from behind the bar and out in the street. The occasional sound of a skirmish, all in pretty good natured. It's weird how the revels are still fun in the voice.
We're having some drinks.
All right. Trying to remember his last name. Serg, if I remember right. The half-ogre at the bar. Approaches you right about midnight. I'm the voice of the voice.
Tonight or
Tonight.
always?
Just for right now. I'll explain more later. Have you had your revels for the night?
Not yet.
Well, I'll tell you what. Head out back to the rotting stairs, and we'll speak where only the zombies hear us.
All right.
Okay.
The rotting
Like-
stairs.
Whatever.
Weirdly not as freaked out by zombies right now.
So there are archers just firing away, drinking and shooting down at the zombie pit like normal. When you guys head out the back, you know, big cheer comes up from the bar. Yay! Head out. There's not a lot of folks out, you know, at shots at midnight because it's not that great a bar. But you guys head out and kind of get up amongst the zombies. You get out of bow range, and one of the zombies turns around, says, "Come on this way. Go through that little tunnel door, and I'll meet you there." And then turns around and rejoins its brains.
Huh.
Like, give, like, creeped out side eye at Stan. Like, what the
I'll
fuck?
go first.
Little more on tiptoes now.
No individual zombie is any kind of threat to you right now. You're just like, You crawl through it's basically a halfling-sized doorway. It's a little halfling hut. And you go into what used to be probably somebody's little home, but is now just a horror show. You know, many things have died in here, various sizes. And so you crawl through the muck, and as you do, both of you feel all of your attunements go dark. Struana, the song in the back of your head is just a song right now. Stan, Moradin's still with you, but you can't grab the juice.
Okay. I like this.
I don't like this either. Crossbow out. Of course I brought it with me to shots. I assumed we'd be killing zombies.
Right? You notice and then follow a few chalk marks on the door that are on the walls that basically point, you know, to your path through this little hovel, and then there's a stairway down that begins to be medium-sized again.
Is there a can I roll perception?
Sure. Or investigation.
My base perception is 14. Let's see if I can do better. Sorry, they're supposed to be +5, so it's a 16. Right?
Okay.
Yes, 16.
What are you trying to find? What are you looking for?
Just a general, like, the being wary thing.
Okay.
Trying to be very mindful of what the...
Right. Outside of that, it's an unusual place and an unusual situation. Everything seems to be usual and in place. What do you guys do?
I guess the only way to go is that way.
Yep.
You head down the stairs and around down a landing. By then, you can stand upright again. As you get down the landing, you feel your attunements kick back in. And once again, you've got your spells available. And you see a glow down at the bottom of the stairway.
Like, what can do that? Is it going to a knowledge arcana to see if there
Sure.
are blank spots?
Give it a shot.
Usually when you answer that quickly, it means that no matter what I roll, you're not going to have an useful answer for me anyway. 11.
11. There's a lot of things that can make an anti-magic zone. There's probably a spell for it.
Down the stairs.
Okay. You walk into a well-decorated underground lair. It's got, you know, the facsimile of windows with things draped shut. It's got you know, various like statuettes and things. Very tasteful. Most of it, it's an eccentric mishmash, but a lot of it seems to be locally sourced. And at a table that is set with a meal for four is a cloaked, hooded figure standing as you come in. Welcome, friends. I may call you friends.
What color is the cloak?
Great.
Are you the voice? Or just the voice of the voice?
You're asking it backwards. But maybe I'll explain by the end of the meal. I am the voice of the voice. And I understand your confusion because I sowed it myself. There's only ever been one voice of the voice. It has always been me. But that is a lie that you are now, I imagine, the 6th and 7th people in the city to have discovered. I was born Le. Takes the hood down, and you see gray, barely featured face. It has sort of a lump for a nose, no hair, no complete alopecia. Standing before you. Looks kind of frail, youngish, similar to what you observed with Desireen at the opera.
Are you a changeling?
Yes.
Well, that explains something.
I am what I am. I wandered for a long time in my youth. When I came here, it was home. It's the only place I've ever found one. So I kept it and made it good. Kept other people from taking advantage of the sorts of people that live here. That's how it stays my home. I'm sure you have questions. Please, sit. Eat.
Like, gesture at Stan and also sit down. With the gesticulation of like, well, I guess I'm going to sit down and have this conversation.
Bornor is what brings us here.
Of course.
And the
The voice
information.
doesn't have very much in the way of resources. People here are the most impacted by your quest.
It's true.
We're behind you.
Thank you.
Otherwise, you and I would never talk like this.
But what is But what does that mean? You're behind us. What in this battle of many fronts? I'm certain. I'm privy to maybe a couple. What can you guys contribute? I guess is my best way of putting it.
The voice is poor, with limited resources. As a city, probably very little. In point of fact, if we were to openly support you, in all likelihood, it would drive away other allies. It's the state of the city right now. But why do you think the rebels raise your income?
Because war is good for business.
Because practicing the skill of war is valuable to our community. And so it's rewarded. He sort of like gestures outward, and even like through all the stuff you climb, you can kind of still hear the celebratory, like, woohoo, you got one, yeah. It brings us together, and it keeps us sharp. The voice also conducts many conscription contracts with the Gate Ward, which means we've received training in return for service. But everything we receive is in return for service here, in and out of the city. The pressure placed on our infrastructure from the refugees from the north will reach critical mass. I don't know exactly when. There are a lot of variables. But we can't support very many more people. This has to end. Otherwise, we'll fold. So we have no choice, really, but to stand behind the best option for success.
No, so is that us? Do you assess that as us?
Yes. Currently, you're really the only people doing anything about it, aside from profiting, like you.
Aside from what?
Profiting.
Well, we've been doing some of that too.
My real question, and the reason I asked you here, what is it you need? I have watched you through several stories, but aside from being armed and ready when the time comes, is there anything that can help? Do you need paper?
The information about the whatever the snake people were actually called.
Yuan-Ti. I've encountered some before. Why?
Is that one to me?
If you want to answer it, I'm trying to figure out how to answer it, so you're here too.
Yeah. Sorry, I was doing a little reading on from the quest journal. I didn't catch all of it.
She asked about UNT. And
About
Li,
what we're asking for?
yeah, and Li indicated that it has encountered them. What do you want to know? And why?
Well, we have to. We also want to try to end this, and we have reason to believe that our next stop is in the desert and will require us to engage with some of these UNT.
Not my specialty, I'm afraid. There are, and its eyes roll back in its head for just a second, go a little cloudy. 49 UNT members of the Voice.
Would they be willing to talk to us or potentially travel with us, or?
Ironically, I couldn't speak for them in that regard.
It's fair.
Unless it's to negotiate a contract.
Would you help us speak to them?
They'll be friendly when you approach.
Are they presently in the city, or?
Yes.
Okay. Just because someone's a member of the Voice doesn't mean they're actually in the Voice district. That's
It's true.
in information and decanter of endless water and trees.
What?
What?
And no. There's.
You don't have to worry about the decanter. I've already bought one.
I don't know that.
There's no reason you should know anything about it because I haven't told you yet. Like, it shouldn't be on your list.
Right? You just know there's a plan B.
Yeah.
Decanter of endless water because we're going to a desert and I don't want to be dehydrated. That was my I need to buy this thing before I leave.
Oh.
Okay.
We have very limited resources of that kind.
That
You
was
could buy one in the city.
Yeah, I'm going to. I just haven't been able to yet. Been trying to research all this.
It's lousy magic item shopping in the Voice District.
Yeah. There are a few things. Gore. Andrigan? Gore? Am I saying that right?
Gorn?
Gorn. Thanks. With all this, I'll probably be great with the desert dialect.
I'm just going to make it harder just for you. Andrigan Gorn is a legendary bastard.
Is also not on the side of the city.
Andrigan Gorn's only ever been on his own side.
That's true, but if his and the Delta Confederacy's goals match, that's fine. But at this point, it looks like he is helping to actively destabilize everything that is solid about this place. This isn't petty infighting. This is epic level.
That's basically always been Gorn's method.
ideas for how to neutralize him.
If I had any, I'd have acted on them already. I managed to overthrow an entire city district already. If I could get Gorn, I would. He doesn't have the same vulnerabilities the Tanamirs did. Gorn came to power by way of a wish spell.
Well, that's good to know.
He earned nothing of what he has, cares nothing for how it's supported, and is only in it for his own gain and pleasure. And yet, for some reason, the dragon takes his tribute.
Do you know what the terms of the wish were?
I wasn't there for it. Closely guarded secret.
Compel truth, like a spell in this game.
Yes.
That's not lawful.
No, it's on your Paladin list. How could it not be lawful? You might not be able to present it as evidence in court, depending on the law of the land. Anyway.
So, Stan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the voice right now?
I find them fairly trustworthy. Fairly. Yeah. I mean, they do have the most aloof, they're the most vulnerable, being not having any big fancy walls, and they're all poor.
With eloquence.
With elephants. Are there undead elephants? I bet so.
I said with eloquence, not
Eloquence.
There are problems in the voice that, were they solved, could put us in a better position to help you.
Like what?
The pit. Tanamir's Folly. Been there. We're at the edge now.
Yeah.
You know what the bottom's like. Never sees sunlight. That's why it's a problem. It has become a shallow, an area in between worlds where the veil thins. It's why Sangrid's quarry used it to do what he did. In the meantime, it's why we have the rebels. The energies that seep in through there, combined with the horrific deaths and unsettled souls, all the way down to the bottom, left a scar on the entire city. A testament to Tanamir's madness. And as I think you might already know, directly on the other side, the renegade mage gathered an entire mob of nightmares. They help keep the energy right.
They what?
They help keep the energy of the place right.
The mention of nightmares, I startle and like wide-eyed. It's very important that they stay on the other side of that portal.
I agree. If any of them are to be brought on this side, it is as to be butchered parts, as trade to mages. But here's the problem. They don't stay. Every time the black moon hits something, the tune between the shadow and the real matches. And inevitably, a dozen or so will wander through. These are the worst nights in the voice. These are when the rebels get serious.
So the Black Convergence is going to be particularly painful here.
It always is.
What if we got someone to fill the pit with lava?
Holy lava.
Not the craziest idea I've heard today.
I will admit that geomancy is outside of my scope of expertise. I don't know exactly how it would be solved. We did petition the Pantheon District to perform hallowing services. We don't have the resources to pay for that sort of thing, not on the scale that's required.
What do you... So... What could be done with the resources available? How could we actually help?
I don't know. But if you could find a solution, that would free up a lot of the voices resources, as well as keep our fighting force a little more populated. Far fewer injuries, far fewer costs for us to remunerate to the Pantheon District for healing. Less disease, less affliction, better food, you know, the basics, the things life is built on. People here, most of them don't even have that dependably. I do what I can.
Well, I think we should talk to the Pantheon District.
I think we should talk to the Pantheon District, but I also have a... hey, Stan.
Yeah. What?
We have to go... So, like, pardon us a second.
He away and takes a bite of his food as though he's not paying attention.
Be like, so we have to go to the desert. I'm just not going to whisper because then you won't be able to hear me, but I'm whispering.
Okay.
We have to go to the desert and we can't effectively help with this, but what if, crazy idea, we got Sangrid and Brusk and Sugarloaf. Maybe a couple of gnomes who work on the airship to work with the Pantheon and the Voice to try to clear out the pit.
I mean, it's possible, but what is the Pantheon District's motivation? They haven't wanted to help the Voice. You know, it's not just an easy thing.
I don't know that it's an easy thing, but I feel like we can at least try to ask. And I'm pretty good at asking for some things at this point.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
With some wine and says, "It's the money."
It's always the money, but the money isn't the only motivator.
Isn't it?
It's
No
power.
offense to your calling, Stan, but I've always found that gods and money are always found in the same place. In this case, we're talking around 50 to 60,000 gold pieces over the course of a month and a half. I would have to let 142 families, 176 total souls, starve in order to pay that cost. I would have to cut 6 hospital tents.
I mean, what are you really paying for? I mean, they're paying for their services, but they don't really have a lot of expenses. I'm just saying.
Some deem it the value of sacrifice. Some call it a tithe to other poor. Some demand fealty and the due. It all depends on what your God says they're for. But at the end of the day, priests work for souls and money.
What does $60,000 to the Pantheon buy you? Like, I want to know the specifics of what we're talking here because you know them if you came up with that figure.
That's the cost it would take to fund repeated castings over a long enough course of time, permanently seal Tanamir's folly from incursion from the shadow. Effectively ending the rebels.
It would transform.
We'd find something else to celebrate. I appreciate you considering it.
A series of time, how long are you talking?
45 days.
What?
45 days. Although the payment, of course, is upfront.
So it's 45 days and casting throughout 45 days, or like a consistent ongoing casting? That's a
Priests know the specific of how and when to cast, and there may be some amount of backlash from other planar energies. If I knew enough to do it myself, I would. If I had the knowledge, I'd have already done it.
Information is a type of power. That's why I'm trying to get the information I need to be able to find opportunities.
As soon as you utter the phrase, it gives a fox's smile. Just I appreciate.
I forgot.
I appreciate the consideration. We receive precious little of it in this city.
I like the way you style it. I like the way it works. I like to see it work better.
I cannot claim full credit. Between you and me, there's an artifact in play.
Down there? Or
Around you. I set up a ritual as though there needs to be something to initiate people in. All you really need is to accept the voice into your heart. And all of a sudden, remember, most people need some tangible symbol, almost like a church, in order to make the connection and truly, sincerely make the commitment. But anytime you're ready, someone with a will like yours and your stand, all you need to do is decide.
how much of oneself does one lose?
None. You gain
Did he say, wait, did they say none or not much?
none.
Okay. Different.
You lose no freedom. I exert no control. All that's shared are surface thoughts and a knowledge of what you've done for the community. We're all interconnected. And yet still individuals.
I want to make a joke about the Borg, but it's not happening.
You wouldn't
I
get the
think-
reference.
Right? Well, I think that's all that we can bother you with today.
I appreciate it.
Unless you know anything you think we need to know.
I'll find out what I can about Andric and Gorn. Specifically, how someone like you could bring him down. As I said, he doesn't have the sort of vulnerabilities that led to the fall of House Tanimir. Can't use the same tricks twice. I'll find out what I can.
Thank
That will be useful. We will also do what we can, or at least I will. I can't speak for Stan.
The voices behind you, whether or not you address any of the issues with Tanimir's folly, we stand behind you.
And
The
that
state of the pit simply determines how strong and how fast we may stand.
is still the most honest offer of assistance that we've yet received in the Confederacy.
Living behind a bulletproof lie gives me immense freedom, to be honest.
Well, good day. Thank you.
Thank you for the meal.
The very least I could do. I hope you enjoyed it. I made it myself.
Stanley.
All right. You crawl back through the anti-magic field, back through the halfling's hovel, back into a crowd of zombies, where the one that spoke to you kind of looks at you, opens up its arms, and then just kind of falls backwards, taking all the ones in front of the door with it, opening up a path for you.
Wait. Thanks.
Thanks.
And we will break there. And that is where we end today. That is A Bard's Tale. I am Thomas. This is Allison, David, and Diamond, and we are playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And that is where we will close for the evening. If you like what we did, hit like. If you want to see more of it, hit subscribe. And if you want to see it get better, some graphics, some music, some higher bandwidth, go ahead and hit us up on our Patreon. And meanwhile, have a good game.